Feeling overwhelmed by the pace of life? You're not alone. We're taught to chase productivity, but too often it leaves us drained, anxious, and wondering, is this really it? I know that ache, the pull for something more. I hit a breaking point and had to choose. Keep running on empty or build a life that actually feels like mine. I chose to slow down, to live with intention. You have the same choice. This video isn't about perfect or rigid routines. It's about small, meaningful changes that align with who you really are. If you're craving peace, purpose, and space to breathe, you're in the right place. Let's take the first step together. Hello, wonderful world. I'm Lauren. I've been a business and life coach for the last 13 years. I live in the natural beauty of the Rocky Mountains with the love of my life, Jackson. Most people know him as Dr. Crawford, linguist and professor of all things Old Norse. It's a simple life, a good life, the one I've always dreamed of having, and I'm grateful every day. It was a long journey to get to this place. I'm sure you understand. Out here, we move slowly. We savor. We believe in kindness, love, and creating memories. Thanks for coming by. Stay a while, join us, and we'll share our stories of how we got here and where we're going. Welcome to The Slower Way. In this video, I'm not just sharing tips, I'm sharing a blueprint for living intentionally. A life where you no longer feel trapped in chaos, but instead wake up every day feeling calm, fulfilled, and aligned. If you've ever wondered, how do I begin? What does intentional living even look like? You're in the right place. Let me start by saying that intentional living is not about being perfect or following a one-size-fits-all plan. It's deeply personal. It's about making small, deliberate choices that reflect who you are and what you value. Today, I'm here to guide you through the foundational steps of embracing intentional living. Whether you're feeling overwhelmed, burned out, or simply curious about slowing down, this is your invitation to begin. Together, let's start creating a life that reflects your true self, nurtures your well-being, and fills you with joy. The truth is, many of us are trapped in a relentless cycle that prioritizes productivity over well-being. From a young age, we're taught to push ourselves to do more, achieve more, and be more, often at the expense of our health, happiness, and inner peace. For me, this cycle started far earlier than most. Growing up in a turbulent family environment, I was thrust into survival mode from a young age. By the time I was 15, I was living on my own, stuck in a constant fight or flight response, just trying to make it through each day. That pattern of survival followed me into adulthood. Years later, I found myself running on empty, desperately trying to keep up with a fast-paced career that didn't align with my values or who I wanted to be. The pressure to succeed and the fear of failure felt crushing, taking a devastating toll on my health, my relationships, and my sense of self. I was constantly anxious, my body was worn down, and despite checking off all the boxes society says lead to success, I felt completely unfulfilled. But I also know it's possible to escape that cycle. It's possible to create a life that feels aligned, joyful, and meaningful without burning out. You're here because you're ready for a change. Maybe you've tried to slow down before, but didn't know where to start. Maybe you're afraid that making a change will mean falling behind or letting others down. I understand those fears. I face them too. But here's the good news. You don't have to figure it out alone. I'm here to guide you, and the Slower Way community is here to support you. Together, we'll make this one small step at a time. I'll show you how to assess where you are, clarify what truly matters to you, and start making intentional changes that align with your values. Step 1. Clarify what matters most. Step one is all about reflection. It's impossible to live intentionally if you don't know what truly matters to you. When was the last time you paused to ask yourself, what brings me joy? What makes me feel alive? What do I truly value? If you can't remember, don't worry, you're not alone. In the hustle of life, it's easy to lose touch with those core truths. Grab a notebook or journal and create a quiet moment for yourself. Write down anything that comes to mind when you think about what makes life meaningful to you, no matter how small or scattered they seem. Don't censor yourself, and don't worry if your list feels messy or incomplete. This is a starting point. This list will become your compass as you start aligning your life with your values. Here are some journaling prompts to help you get on the path to rediscovering what matters. What activities, people, or moments make me feel most alive? When do I feel most like myself? What are 3 things I loved doing as a child, and do I still do any of them? What do I value more than success or productivity? What does a good day feel like to me? Not look like, but feel like. When was the last time I felt a deep sense of joy or peace? What was I doing? What drains me, emotionally, mentally, or physically, even if it looks good on paper? What do I want more of in my life? Not things, but feelings or experiences. If I stripped away all expectations and pressures, how would I spend my days? What have I been ignoring in myself that's quietly asking for my attention? For me, this exercise reveals a lot about what I was missing. I realized that connection, creativity, and time in nature were non-negotiable for my happiness. Yet these things were almost non-existent in my life back then. That awareness was the first spark of change. You might discover that your values include quality time with loved ones, a sense of purpose, or even simple pleasures like enjoying a cup of tea without distractions. Whatever your answers are, they're valid and they're uniquely yours. This exercise will serve as your compass as you begin making choices that align with your values. Step 2. Start with one area of your life. The idea of overhauling your entire life can feel paralyzing, so here's my advice. Start small. Pick just one area of your life, your home, your schedule, or even your mindset, and focus on simplifying it. Pick one drawer, one habit, or one thought to declutter. For me, the first step was decluttering my home. I began with a single drawer, sorting through items that didn't serve a purpose or bring me joy. Simplifying isn't just about creating space, it's about creating clarity and intention. When you let go of what doesn't serve you, you make room for what truly matters. That one small action gave me the momentum to tackle larger spaces. But decluttering isn't just about physical stuff, it's also about emotional clutter. Those nagging thoughts or commitments that weigh us down. Ask yourself, is there a thought you keep replaying that no longer serves you? Maybe it's the idea that you always need to be busy to be worthy, or that you can't set boundaries without guilt. Letting go of these beliefs can be just as freeing as clearing out a cluttered closet. For the longest time, I carried the story that I need to work this hard to survive. It was a belief rooted in fear. Fear of falling behind, of not being enough, of everything unraveling if I slowed down even for a moment. But over time, I realized that this story was draining me. It wasn't keeping me safe, it was keeping me stuck. So I began to rewrite it. Now my story sounds more like, I can thrive by honoring my energy. Rest makes me stronger. I am allowed to build a life that's sustainable and joyful. That shift didn't happen overnight. But every time I chose self compassion over self pressure, the new story took root a little deeper. Because here's the truth, the stories we tell ourselves shape how we live. And when we let go of the ones that no longer serve us, we make space for a new narrative, one that aligns with who we truly are and the life we actually want to live. Step 3. Embrace the power of no. Have you ever said yes to something you didn't want to do just because you felt obligated? We all have. But living intentionally requires learning the art of saying no. It's not about being selfish, it's about honoring your time, energy, and well-being. Living intentionally means protecting what matters most. It's okay to say no to things that don't align with your values, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. And here's something important. You don't have to justify or explain your no. Your boundaries are valid simply because they are yours. When you say no to what drains you, you're saying yes to what nurtures you, and that shift is transformative. Start by identifying one thing in your life that feels draining. A task, a relationship, or a story you've been telling yourself in your head. Then ask yourself, what would happen if I said no to this? Saying no can feel hard at first, especially if you're used to people pleasing, but it's incredibly freeing. It opens up space for what truly matters. When I started practicing this, I noticed an immediate shift. I had more energy, more time for creativity in the form of painting, and more peace in my life. It's a practice that gets easier the more you do it, and it's one of the most empowering steps towards intentional living. Here are some thoughtful and graceful ways to say no, whether you're setting boundaries with friends, family, colleagues, or commitments, without over-explaining or feeling guilty. Thanks for thinking of me, but I'll have to pass this time. I hope it goes well. I'm trying to be more intentional with my time, so I'm saying no to things that don't align right now. That's not a good fit for me at the moment, but I really appreciate the offer. I've promised myself more breathing room in my schedule, so I'll have to decline. I'm not able to. Thanks for understanding. Step 4. Create intentional rituals. Rituals are a beautiful way to anchor yourself in the present moment. They don't have to be elaborate or time-consuming. In fact, the simpler the better. A morning gratitude practice, a 5-minute breathing exercise, or even the act of brewing your coffee with intention can become a ritual. For me, journaling became a lifeline during my transition to slow living. Each morning, I'd write 3 things I was grateful for and set a simple intention for the day. This practice not only grounded me, but also helped me notice the beauty in everyday moments. Over time, I would write more and more, and my journal became a sounding board for getting to my deeper thoughts and feelings. Your rituals should feel nurturing and personal. Think of them as small acts of self-care that help you reconnect with what matters most. These small, mindful acts remind you to slow down and connect with yourself. Over time, they'll help you cultivate a deeper sense of peace and fulfillment. Rituals don't have to be complicated, they just need to be intentional. Here are some simple practices you can turn into grounding rituals. Brewing your morning coffee or tea slowly, without screens, just you and the quiet. Lighting a candle and taking a deep breath before starting or ending your day. Journaling for a few minutes each morning or night to reflect, release, or dream. Stretching or gentle movement to wake up your body with presence. Stepping outside to watch the sunrise or sunset, even for just a moment. Tending to a plant or garden, noticing how nature moves at its own pace. Preparing a meal with care, noticing textures, smells, and colors. Evening wind-down routines like washing your face, turning off lights, or playing calming music, done with intention instead of autopilot. writing a one-line memory or gratitude at the end of each day. Taking a walk without a destination, just observing the world around you. Each of these can become a ritual, not because of what you're doing, but because of how you're doing it, slowly, intentionally, and with care. Step 5. Find joy in the everyday. We've been conditioned to believe that joy comes from big milestones, promotions, vacations, achievements. But slow living teaches us that joy is in the small, everyday moments. It's the sound of rain on the roof, the taste of your favorite meal, or the warmth of a hug from someone you love. When I started paying attention to these little moments, my entire perspective shifted. I realized that joy isn't something you chase, it's something you notice. It's already here, waiting for you to see it. Take a moment today to pause and notice something beautiful, no matter how small. These moments are the essence of intentional living. Here are a few of my everyday joys. The smell of coffee brewing in the quiet morning. Sunlight streaming through the window just right. The soft weight of a blanket during a midday rest. A deep belly laugh with someone I love. The sound of rain tapping on the roof or windows. A song that brings back a memory. The first sip of a warm drink on a cool day. The feel of grass or earth under my bare feet. A stranger's unexpected kindness. The colors of the sky at dusk. A home-cooked meal made slowly and with love. Fresh sheets on the bed. A quiet moment alone that feels peaceful instead of lonely. The comfort of a hug that lingers. Birdsong in the morning or stillness at night. The scent of something familiar, like your favorite candle or a loved one's sweater. A handwritten note or a text that made you feel seen. The spark of inspiration from a book, quote, or journal page. The ritual of lighting a candle at the end of the day. Living intentionally is a journey, not a destination. It's about progress, not perfection. It isn't about escaping reality, it's about creating a better one. It's about choosing joy over hustle, balance over burnout, and alignment over obligation. When you start living intentionally, you'll notice the shift. You'll feel lighter, freer, and more connected with what matters. You'll start to see that life isn't about how much you achieve, it's about how deeply you can live. I invite you to take the first step today, a single choice to align your life with what truly matters to you. It might feel slow, but remember, slow is where the magic happens. If you're ready to embrace this path, let's continue the journey together. The Slower Way community is here to support you every step of the way. If this resonates with you, I invite you to join us. Subscribe to the channel, connect in our Discord, and share your journey in the comments. Together, let's create lives that feel whole, joyful, and truly our own.